Hi everyone, thanks for coming. I'm Missy Longman, and I also have a 12-year-old daughter. Her name is Sienna, and she was diagnosed at 4 weeks old, just an infant after having open heart surgery. About 4 years ago, a few months after my third child was born, I was sitting in a deli with two of my girlfriends, and I was holding my baby. I had just nursed him, and I was totally calm. Everything was totally calm. And all of a sudden, I felt like this weird pain in my arm. And my girlfriends and I were chatting, and I was like, oh, that's weird. It's like a tingling. And my head started going, you're having a heart attack. You're gonna die. And I'm in the middle of the deli, and I stand up, and I hand my baby over to one of my girlfriends, and I'm like, I'm having a heart attack. I'm gonna die. And I told her, call 911. So she called 911, the ambulance came. I got in the ambulance, and they take all my vitals, and they're like, you're fine, I was like, I can't breathe. My chest, felt like there was an elephant on it. My entire body went numb, my legs went numb, my hands and feet went numb. They kept telling me I was fine. I was not convinced, so I made them take me to the hospital. I went to the ER. They gave me a shot of Ativan, and within 10 minutes I was totally fine. And they said, and I was like, what was that? I said, you just had a massive panic attack. Never had one. I have no history of anxiety. My parents had come to the hospital because they thought I was having a heart attack because I told them I was. So they were there at the hospital, and my mom was like, panic attack? She's coping great. And the nurse goes, with all due respect, she's in the ER for a panic attack, so she's really not coping that well at all. So that was a big wake-up call for all of us. It was really a big wake-up call for me because I honestly did think that I was coping well. I had just had my third child, so I was definitely sleep deprived. But it took me, first of all, it took me like a good 3 or 4 months to be able to really leave my house and not be in fear. I don't know if anybody in this room has ever experienced panic, but I went through a lot of difficulty and struggle just from the fear of having another panic attack. So I had to work through a lot of those things with herbs and forcing myself out, and that's not really the self-care piece that I found out was the most important thing. It was the stuff that kind of came before it that I think is the most important. And the self-care that I realized after a lot of therapy is there was like this resistance to my life every single day. My life was about putting a brake on something that I could not put a brake on. And it was fighting the SMS. It was fighting what was handed to me. It was not denying it, but not leaning into it. Not leaning into the way it was making me feel, not sitting with that anger that I was feeling, that sadness, that grief that kind of overwhelms you every once in a while out of nowhere when you think you've got it all down, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, this is happening. This is really happening. So that to me has been the biggest eye-opener for me, is the acceptance that's we have to deal with a level of acceptance that nobody else can even possibly fathom. But it's sitting with those emotions and those feelings and allowing them in and forgiving ourselves for feeling that way sometimes. It's taking away the shame of sometimes the way that we feel about what our lives have kind of, and I don't want to say are, because I'm not obviously speaking for you guys, but for me, at least, it was really working through a lot of those emotions.